I no fit take Panadol for another person headache. Governor Obaseki na im tok dis one, say make ASUU carry their fight go meet federal government. Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki don tok say Edo na labour-friendly state and the plenty hardship wey don dey for Naija na im make the state government sharply increase minimum wages for workers. E tok dis one wey labour veterans for Edo State carry waka go visit am for Government House, Benin City on Wednesday. On top ASUU strike matter, Obaseki come tok say Edo government no dey play with education at all, say ASUU matter na for federal government, say e no fit chop Panadol for another person headache, say make students for Edo State government universities go back to school.
I am not surprised, because if you just check the background and the contributions of each and every one of you to the struggles of labor in this state and in the country, I'm not surprised that you are still watching very closely what is going on in the labor circles and playing that role of responsible leaders to come forward to appreciate when a good gesture has been done, and also to advise and to make suggestions on how to improve labor relations with government. Let me remind you that this government is a child of labor. And we recall the very early days when we came around and the support you gave to us and the commitment we made to you. And by the grace of God, I believe largely we have kept that commitment. And also you have kept your own side of the bargain. So 7 years, going almost 7 years, as an administration, we cannot recall one day where we had any serious labor crisis or issues. You were always there to anticipate and to help us deflect any confrontations that will lead to, any strike action and disruption. So I want to continue to express our appreciation and gratitude to all of you. We are not a government that easily forgets. We, on our own, decided to increase minimum wage of our workers without negotiation. Because even a blind man today can see the kind of hardships and difficulties which Nigerian workers are going through. We wish we had more resources, we would have done more. Because we cannot recall in recent memory the amount of inflation that we've seen in the last 90 days, particularly food inflation. So it will be, disingenuous of us as a government to pretend that we are, not conscious of what is going on. And those who want to deceive themselves can, but we are a government that was put in office by our people. So we cannot pretend and behave as if we are blindfolded leaders. So that's why we didn't have to wait for you to come, for the workers to come and begin to negotiate, for us to know that a loaf of bread that was 200 naira 9 weeks ago is almost 800 naira today, or that one egg that was 30 naira about 90 days ago is 900 naira today. So we continue to be sensitive to the plight of our people and the requirements of our people to the extent we have the resources to. It will call for sacrifices, and we're prepared to make those sacrifices for the greater good of our people. My first day at work when I got sworn in 2016, I went to the Secretariat complex, specifically Palm House. And what I saw there left me really troubled and worried. That if this is the environment people are working, then you don't expect them to produce much. But more so, the very hazardous nature of the workplace, where all the fire escapes were blocked by fires. So God forbid there's a fire incident there today. What will happen to our people who are working? So we made a commitment that we will improve the work environment of our workers to make sure that as much as possible let the offices be more comfortable than the homes, so that they can spend longer time in the office working. and that is likely what has influenced the decision to modernize our office. But apart from that, we just feel that the workers deserve a lot more. That your offices cannot and should not be less than the best available in Edo State. Our experience working with the teachers revealed something to us, that our workers are not bad. The problem is not with the workers. The problem is not with our staff. The problem is with the support you give to them, the training, the confidence, the respect you show to them. So, gleaning from what the change we saw in our teachers, these were people they said were no good, were not, competent. But by just retraining them, giving them the tools to work, our children are now doing very well. So in that same spirit, we decided to invest in the training and capacity building of our workers. And we're glad and grateful to God that they have also been reciprocating. Anything that has to do with education, we will not compromise. Because we are all who we are today because of the education we received. We're not saying things are perfect, but as a government, we are committed to making sure that we improve the situation. And most of you in Labour have supported us. And in cases where we expect it to be the same for most unions, especially when you can see that the reforms we have tried to put in place will be in their own long-term interest. So when our children come to us, they cry to me to say, "Sir, please help us. We want to go back to school. We want to go to class. We want to graduate." And we've been begging the teachers to go, and they say, "No. What do you expect us to do?" And what they are striking for, is it our problem? If they have a problem with ASUU has a problem with federal, how has that got to do with me in Edo, in my own schools? What is happening is that maybe it's a deliberate effort to give private universities a headroom and advantage over government schools. We haven't said we're not delaying salaries. So if federal institutions have a problem, why should we suffer in Edo? Look at what we have tried to do in AAU. I mean, there's so much we cannot publish. We've been struggling to reform, to change. How can you say you have a school that's almost 40-something years old, almost 30,000 students, and they say they cannot pay their way? When small private universities that started yesterday are doing. We also have another state university. Those children in the other university are in school, then some in the others will not be in school. Why? Is it fair? We are ready to discuss, but I cannot drink Panadol for another person's headache. Don't lump someone else's problem on our post. We're small states. We want to build our model institutions ourselves. We expect everybody in Edo to cooperate for us to build. How can you be fighting me for providing education, struggling to provide education for your child? Is it fair that some of these people who are striking don't have their own children in those schools? They've sent their children to other schools abroad, in Ghana, places like that. All we're saying is work with us. Let us stop this confrontation. If there are issues in Edo, if there are issues with the union, well, let's deal with them for the benefit of our children. That's all we are saying. So whatever you can do to please appeal to them, go and please sit with them and talk with them. The state government is not fighting them. But for the sake of our children, it is time for us to sit across the table and all make sacrifices to see how we can improve our educational system. That is what we're doing. That's all we're begging. So I'm so glad that you veterans have come again today. Please go and appeal to them. We are not federal government. If they are fighting federal government, they should go and do it in Abuja. We are in Edo. We want to manage ourselves, manage our resources, and get the best out of our investments for the benefit of our children. We're not saying there's no room for improvement. We're not saying we're not ready to discuss, but nobody's going to put a gun on our head and hold us to ransom. We cannot accept it. These children have come to us, come to appeal. I'll show you their letters. They've been appealing. How can somebody who has been in school for 6 years is not still sure of when you graduate for a 3-year program? Is it right? That's all we're saying. So we are, like, you know, at least you've said it, you know our record with labor. And we are always ready to, have an honest discussion and conversation, and with the purpose of resolving any problem. We are not afraid to, no matter how daunting the challenge, we still try. So please, please, please go and appeal to these unions to work with the state government for the benefit of the citizens of Edo State.
Talk person for the Labour Veterans Group called the governor when him take increase minimum wage of civil servants for Edo from 30,000 to 40,000 naira. Say this one shows say the governor get their welfare for mind.
To express our profound gratitude to Your Excellency for the recent increase in the salaries of the Edo State civil servants. Your pronouncement on May 1st and implementation at the end of May 22 is a testament to your deep concern for the welfare of the state civil servants in Edo State. We also want to acknowledge the tremendous renovations of the state secretariat, the Block C and D, which have become a structure of administration and boosts to the physique and morale of the civil servants in the state. The building of John Odije Oyegun Training Academy. These are legacies that history will record you in good letters. The ongoing construction of the Labour House, Your Excellency, the structure is an edifice of uncommon stature, and there is none in this sub-region that can compete with this quality and class of Labour House. We know, as we can say, Governor, you are a class by yourself because you have class. I made the pronouncement, which included the harmonizations of pensions, is a hanging fruit. We will be grateful if the fruit is harvested by the pensioners to complete the joy that have started with the salary increase. We will also be glad to have Your Excellency program design the payment of the outstanding gratuities, because that's the only sustainable asset for the pensioner after service. Our appeal is on your recent pronouncements of the suspension of union activities in our tertiary institution. Your Excellency, it's our opinion that the way to go is dialogue, because in every human endeavor, there are bound to be conflicts, and the best way to resolve them is dialogue. Your Excellency, you have built a legacy on labor relations. Please, sir, do not let these resolvable items destroy your great achievement. We therefore crave your indulgence to invite all the unions involved for a dialogue.
Ebo Sereme Obinome, TMC TV News.